number. Welcome to Akashic Resources. This is podcast number 15. Sorry,
Yay.
number 15, and we're doing it on the solar eclipse, which is in 2 days here in Texas.
Yes.
So kind of excited. Hopefully, it's not going to be too cloudy, but anyway, we're hopeful for the best. So here at Akashic Resources, we aid people to use their minds more productively, to be happier, healthier, and more successful.
Yay. Yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but I know for me, it's been quite the eclipse ride. I think I was reading in an article that the eclipse season in itself starts March 26th, actually. And so that we're leading into obviously April 8th being the actual eclipse.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
Obviously we thought we try to make the podcast align with what's going on in the world. So we thought, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it from a metaphysical perspective and from what we understand as mind and consciousness. And so you had some really good
I love I love to do research. So so I did research on this and over time in different cultures and civilizations, what do these eclipses mean? And it was really interesting. So from a metaphysical standpoint, we look at rest, renewal, receiving. We've got darkness, which is receptive. So on a yin-yang symbol, the black is receptive. And if you think about it, if you put a black roof or something black out in the sun, it receives the sun's rays, and the white reflects it. So it's really interesting. I never realized that for a long time, and all these things about the darkness. So throughout history, guess what? There's a lot of darkness that's associated with this, and people thought it was a bad omen. So the Chinese talked about a dragon that would eat the sun, and they would have to go through these different things in order to appease the gods, and the dragon would die or whatever. There was cultures where they had wolves eating the sun. In some cultures, it was a sign that you needed to uprise as a people and kill the king.
So you were saying the kings did not like that.
It was not a good time to be in power because in a lot of cultures, it was a negative thing. There were several instances where in one time there was a war that was going on in Europe, and they took it as a sign that the war should stop. So that was a really cool thing.
That's cool.
And in another culture, I think it was some islanders, that they took it as a sign that everybody needed to sort of repent and be their best and get along. So there have been opportunities to use this in a positive way, but interestingly enough, it's been considered a bad omen. And the tie between this physical way of looking at it and the metaphysical way is the darkness, right? The darkness and then the death, the uprising, the killing, the taking over, the things like that, and the change. And death is transformation. When we interpret dreams with the universal language of mind, that's what death represents. So it makes sense. This is a time of transformation.
Yeah, that's really, I think from a personal perspective, I know that I've experienced a lot of clarity in terms of my ways of being that I want more of, and ways of being that seem to have that no longer serve me.
Yeah.
At a certain point they may have, but they really they don't fit into my current life.
Yeah.
And we went to a gathering called Medicine for the People a couple of weeks ago in Austin, and we did a questions for the universe. And one of the questions was around the eclipse. What's the eclipse? What's it bringing? And it has a really good line from it that I wanted to share, which the quote is, nothing that can serve it. I don't have the exact quote, but the overall gist of it is, it's kind of the image of the eye of the needle, and nothing that can pass through that doesn't serve the self anymore of the eye of the needle, especially for those that are on the quest for self-awareness. Those that are awake in their consciousness, they just can't, because they see too much.
Yeah.
And they just can no longer continue taking with them parts of themselves that don't serve them. It's like it's the eye of a needle. It's very small. So you have to let go to pass through. And so that I think that makes sense for me personally. How do you experienced that?
Yeah, it's there's in some of the things I was reading about, and in the whole idea of rebirth and renewal is that we leave the what we don't need behind. We leave the old ways. And there's several of in more spiritual, metaphysical looking at this as a time to let go of those things that no longer serve us, like you're saying it. So the correlations between these different levels and different cultures and different times of looking at this are very, very interesting and work well together. So,
And I think it makes sense that there is such a thing as an eclipse every 20 years or
they happen all the time. There's quite a bit of variety.
variety of them.
Yeah,
I
so
think that it's a way that the universe and the planet balances itself out and creates balance. So with that, remembering that we're actually becoming more balanced, we're becoming in greater harmony. And if you think about like a really good workout or a really good meditation, at times it's not very enjoyable, but you know that you're going to feel better, more aligned at the end of it. And so that's
yeah,
the
and that
similarity.
is something too, is that this is an energetic portal. And guess what? Guess what happens whenever you add more energy, right? Things get exciting. Sometimes things explode, right? So if we're too rigid and you add energy, what that builds pressure, and that's what people are talking about. Even the Buddha said, suffering is attachment, and when we're attached to these old ways of doing things, these old ways of being, then we're going to have a tendency to suffer. So if we're rigid, and so that's where we want to relax. We want to relax so that we can receive this energy and not really have to do anything too quickly. This is not a time to make immediate decisions. This is a time just to reflect and receive and trust that in a few days, in a week, we're going to have clarity, we're going to have renewal, realignment, repurpose, and we can move forward.
Yeah, it makes me think of to become in balance, you have to get out of balance.
Yeah.
At times, even when you're walking, you kind of walk forward, you get a little out of balance, and then you.
And sometimes
the
the
balance.
universe throws us out of balance, right?
So yeah, so we kind of we like to make it practical. Brian's very practical. I'm semi-practical, and so we
Good
thought, okay,
combination.
great. You might hear, okay, great. I already kind of knew that anyway, or okay, wow, that's what's going on.
What do I do with that?
Because I know I had a few people reach out to me that are like, I'm just feeling a lot of intensity. And then when I described what's going on, they're like, okay, cool, but now what do I do? So this is kind of like the now what do I do steps of what to do. So one is because there is so much energy already, you don't want to add more to it as much as possible, which would mean to the best of your ability, trying to clear your schedule.
Yep, stay calm.
Stay calm when things happen that get in the way.
And welcome to Akashic Resources.
We're fine.
Yep. All right. Sorry about that.
It looks like
the thing about
I actually paused the recording.
another thing about this was they said
Yeah.
technology would go crazy. So somehow, my Apple phone connected to anyway. So
that's
apologies.
Actually the redirect that might happen. So we could just redirect. Anyway, so because there's a lot of energy coming in, you want to try to reduce additional stuff. So if you're noticing you're putting pressure on yourself, like looking at the bathroom mirror and saying it's dirty or whatever, like it's okay. It's okay. You can get to it and try to just clear your schedule as much as possible. I know we all live very, very full lives. So some people have already done that. They're either at a festival or they've decided this is the weekend, and maybe you haven't. So it's okay. Just do your best to clear your schedule and listen to yourself. Because if you think about energy is directed by what?
Intelligence.
And your intelligence. So if you have a lot going on and it's so much coming at you, it's very hard to process information and make clear decisions.
Yeah.
But if there's more space, you will have more time to think through things and really integrate the change that's coming through.
Take that energy and move it in the direction where you want to.
Yeah. So that's that. Step 2, embrace the shedding of the old patterns and the old beliefs.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Brian? Is that sometimes that's easier said than done, but how would you embrace that?
Well, it's it, resistance is more difficult than acceptance. It takes more energy to fight and resist than it does to surrender. So at a certain point, I think and it's easier sometimes than others. I mean, let's be honest with that. But at a certain point, you could just ask yourself, do you really want to draw a line in the sand right here? And then, make this fight. And kids have kind of helped with.
You have to surrender.
Kind of help with
But
that.
it makes me think about this is, I was thinking about this in myself because I was telling someone I'm becoming I think part of the challenge that I was going through, and I'm still moving through it, is I'm becoming so aware of who I want to become or who I want to be or who I know I can be.
Right.
And at the same time, I'm so aware of the parts of myself that are just in the way of that. But there's still a fight between the part that's like, but I still exist, and the part's like, but this is a better way of being. This is going to be a more enjoyable way of life.
Yeah.
And to me, it's all about trusting that it's okay to let this part go, and that I can step into this other part of myself, trusting the process that, okay, I might feel uncomfortable having that conversation, or maybe there's certain relationships I need to let go of, and that's scary because what will I be without them, and trusting that process, or maybe it's a new creation or a creation you need to let go of, and it doesn't feel good because it's so comfortable, and it's yours. The truth is, even if it's a part of yourself that is not serving you, you still love it because you've had it.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
it's yours. Yeah, don't take that away from me.
It's familiar.
Exactly. So trusting that process and trusting where you're going is important. This one's a good one that you can talk about, connecting with nature.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We did today. We went out for a little walk, and so I was joking with Gobahar a little bit. I said, one thing as a homeowner, when you cut the grass, you always just feel so good about your house. So I cut the grass for the last 2 days. I've been cutting the grass. And so we went for a walk down into the lower backyard and across the creek, and got onto the trails that go to the lake. And it was really, really fun. We got to see some turtles. We got to see some animal tracks. And it's just, when you can get out amongst nature and in the trees and the sunshine, and leave your cell phones at home, it's just so refreshing and renewing, rejuvenating. It helps us connect with our true nature.
I think so. And just taking some deep breaths while you're out there. A lot of the root of anxiety, there's many reasons why we experience anxiety, especially in the culture that we're in. One of them is just being in fight or flight all the time, because there's so many ways that we're being stimulus, and going on overdrive.
Yeah.
Right. Like, okay,
easy to do.
And we are not immune to that either. So when you go out in nature, especially if you do leave your phone behind, if you can manage that, then there's less stimuli. There's the nature, but nature is very calm. It's very quiet. There's not like erratic stimuli. It's very consistent. You might hear a breeze. You might hear the sound of the water.
It's a different way to receive. Receiving nature is different than receiving social media or, anything else.
For sure.
So
that's, just go out and just notice the beauty that's around you. And how
because the
beautiful
solar
it is.
eclipse is a natural event. So it's, it's part of nature.
Part of nature, yeah. Part of getting closer to the divine consciousness that runs this place.
Our cosmic nature.
Yeah, cosmic nature. So step 4, set intentions.
Yep.
Just take some time to contemplate, what is it that I want to intend? What is an intention? It's something you're saying, I intend to do this. I shouldn't use that word intend to explain it, but it's taking time to say, this is the direction I want to go. So now again, because the energies are heightened, you have more energy to work with. This is a perfect time to set in a new habit. And spring is a great time.
I'll let go of this, and I'll pick this up and go and move forward with this.
Yeah. So if you think, you know what, I really want to meditate every day, this would be a great time to set that up and clarify that, but not with a lot of pressure, just with a really clear, this is what I want to experience. This is my intention. Or maybe your intention is more gratitude or more love, something very simple.
Yeah.
Which takes us to the step 5, practice your favorite.
Practice
gratitude.
Oh, practice gratitude. Sure. Yeah. We're doing that as a family now. We're in the morning, we're using that as a way to wake up and move our minds in a positive direction as a family,
And
right?
I noticed
So,
that since you've been practicing that for a few days or weeks with the kids, today Daria really wanted to actually practice it.
Daria had at least what, 8, 10
Yeah,
things
she
that
just wanted to keep going.
yeah, she was grateful for all kinds of stuff. So it was really, yeah.
And I was thinking about that too for myself in terms of gratitude is like anytime I'm really like in a bad mood or just like kind of looking at something and it's really bothering me,
Mhm.
if I can just take a moment and find one thing to be grateful for, I find that, oh, so now all of a sudden I just can't be as much of in a bad mood because there's this thing that I have gratitude for. And as simply, if you can't find anything to be grateful for, be grateful that you're getting to witness this experience
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
time
Yeah, there'll be some
in the
pretty cool stuff.
cosmic alignment.
Yeah.
And step 6 is share the experience. If you're able to create the time to do it with a few people, it doesn't have to be a large crowd. It can be, some people are doing that. But if you haven't done that, that's okay. But just a few people that you want to share
Mm.
in community with as you
Yeah.
witness this experience. Maybe
Make it
share your intentions
meaningful.
with them.
Have a little, have a little ceremony if you want to,
Mhm.
whatever feels right to you. But we can really use this opportunity for have some fun as well as learn and grow through the experience.
And simplify it so it doesn't have to be like if you're thinking, well, what would that look like? It doesn't matter, just something real simple and easy.
Yeah. So I think the most important thing is always who we're becoming through. So this portal, if you can think about, is as we maybe even think of it like a ring of fire, because that's what this thing can look like, is like a ring of fire. If we're going to jump through that ring of fire, which the fire represents expansion, it's an expansion of our identity. So as we jump through this, we're leaving behind or burning off these things that we no longer need and coming out the other side with this new identity for ourselves.
Which is really step 7 is reflect and integrate. Is now that it's not really over, it's like a new way of
Right.
being. It's actually a beginning.
A new chapter to write.
Definitely a beginning, a new chapter to write. So integration is really important. And that's where it's good to, if there's some realizations you have about who you want to become or what you do want as you're letting something go, again, having a very, some plans around that. Like I said, like I'm going to go to yoga or I'm going to write my book finally, whatever it is that you just really wanted to like experience in your life. Maybe it's a trip that you've been meaning to take and giving yourself the thing that you really want and desire and
Yeah.
integrating the experience. And integration could be journaling about it or talking about it with a friend. And that's what I did this morning with one of my friends, is just talking about what I'm experiencing, what she's experiencing. And it was helpful to hear that perspective. So
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. So we're looking forward to a solar eclipse. Looking forward. Life is about, it's about change, and there's opportunities when we have help. And this is an opportunity where the universe is providing us some extra help in the form of this solar eclipse energetic portal, and we can take steps to make the most of it. So,
and I think if we can, and I speak for myself more than anyone else, is just quiet myself a little bit to know that I'm not alone in this. We're not alone in this life that we walk. Even if you feel alone, like there's no one around you. Let's say you live alone and you have no friends. Let's just say, like at that extreme, you still have a lot of other beings that are supporting you and loving you, ancestors and higher level beings. And it always comes up in
angels and
almost
guides and
all the questions for the universe. Says there's all these ancestors present,
a team of people.
So call upon your team, and prayer is a good thing for that as well. And of course, we're here for you as well at Akashic Resources to support you in your journey. Awesome. Anything else you'd like to say?
I think we've covered it. So anyway, if you need anything, if you have an idea for a podcast or any thoughts, please reach out to us.
See you on the other side.
Have a great day. Bye.